when you make your art,
Yeah.
do you make it for other artists
Ooh.
or do you make it for?
Steve, I ask the questions on this show, man.
Give me the paint, give me the chalk, give me the urban artist talk. Conversations from the heart, from the start we set apart. Art a la carte, now check it.
Hey, beautiful art community. Thank you for watching another episode. Be sure to subscribe to Urban Artist Talk. Your subscription will help us to bring on more guests and make sure that we fund this whole project. So thank you for watching another episode, and we look forward to your support. All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Urban Artist Talk. I'm your host, Andre Jahmora, and this episode here, I have been waiting for a couple of weeks now. When I saw this organization, this group sign up on the sign-up schedule for the podcast, I was elated. I was in disbelief. I had to check with Ashley and be like, does that read right? Is it the Illuminaries that are coming here to talk to us today? So with no hesitation, I would like to introduce the Illuminaries. What's going on, guys?
Oh, brother, thank you for having us.
Man,
Appreciate that.
It's my pleasure. Super pleasure. So, yeah, man. I mean, there's so many things that I want to talk to you guys about. First off, just the inspiration that you have given so many artists, even like myself, so many artists here in the town. I just want to give you guys your flowers here in real time and just, kudos, bro. Kudos to all of you guys,
Same to you, man. Likewise, like it's just crazy. It's such a small town, but a big town, and it's, we've never really crossed paths like fully. But, bro, what better time to do it than right now?
Man, than right now. Yeah, man, definitely.
Share info, break bread, and just
chop it up, man. Because I feel like it's so long overdue, and like you said, it's a small town. And one of the things I love about Oakland is just, of course, iron sharpens iron, right? So it's like this competitive under nature, but like on the surface, everybody really just is like fans of one another. Like I love being a fan of this art shit, like just seeing a new piece go up on the highway or a new piece in the town. Like I just kind of like got to slow down or hit the brakes and be like, that's dope.
yeah,
Right?
Look for the name. Who did?
yeah.
Don't
Get into a car accident.
Yeah, don't get in a car accident.
Are we hating or loving this one?
Yeah, all of that. It's and that's why I love art, is just because it's that, like that emotional roller coaster of like, there's some pieces that I did not like initially that grew on me where I'm like, I gotta respect the craftsmanship of that shit. That, like it's just maybe not my subject matter, but that's well done.
I did. I had that exact moment a couple of months ago. I think. Did you guys do the one on 24 coming through the tunnel?
24 coming through the tunnel.
Through the tunnel, there's on a house.
Yeah. Yes.
When I saw that happening, I was like, "What the fuck?" Like that shit was next level. Like, cause you don't even think about like doing something up there, but it just stood out. It popped so well. It was like that was amazing.
No, man. That fact, that was Zoe Boston. Zoe.
That was you?
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Zoe headed that one. That one was a special one, definitely. Just even working with Zoe and the team. But yeah, like you said, like it's just like nothing but bushes. Even when the lady reached out and was like, we want you to paint the back of our house. And we were like, are you sure? We'll do it. We'll paint it. And she was like, yes. And I was like,
That's crazy.
Cool.
Sick, man.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, with the Illuminaries, I was, chopping it up with you guys, Tim and Eric before you got here, Steve, and I was, kind of joking. But, being honest, from my perspective, the Illuminaries, you guys are so, mysterious in a sense. Like there's so many people that see the artwork but don't know you all personally, individually, know the group, know the name, the brand, Illuminaries. And then I was telling the team, I was just like, I chalk that up to being humble. And Tim was like, okay, if that's
We'll take it.
if that's what we're doing. But when you guys, put yourselves out there, like, is there a unified, way you guys like to move, or is just kind of like mild mannered and hit them hard with some beautiful artwork? Is that kind of like your nature?
I mean, yeah, like I was saying, like just going from the graffiti world, like being in the shadows is kind of part of our game. Like there's been so much drama growing up in that world. It's a little bit scary sometimes to put yourself out there because it's so easy to offend people. Like, I've had situations where someone comes up like, hey, 3 years ago, you went over a part of my piece. And I'm just like, what? And that's happened a few times. So, I mean, we're in a different headspace now. We're all grown. We're all older. The game it works a little bit differently, but still, like, that's just kind of part of my nature is to be like, you know, a little bit not in the forefront.
Yeah.
Kind of behind the scenes. Like, this guy's not even really on social that much. So I think, yeah, I mean, kind of alluding to what he said, is more let the art speak for itself, have fun, and just put it out there and then dip out and on to the next. But I feel like when we paint, though, we always invite, like, people to come. It's like a party when we come paint.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
always. Yeah.
So there's always something going on. But I can see how you can see it from that, you know, perspective.
Yeah.
Who's the Illuminaries? Like, I don't know nothing about them. Like, they just popped up and just started painting shit. But it was crazy because we were so heavily influenced by graffiti, like he said, with all the beef and all that, like kind of like pivoted. And now we're doing murals, but we don't want cats to know that, you know, it's us in a sense. But
So I'm gonna just, you know, take it back to the essence. How did you guys get into like public art? Have you guys always been painting together? What was kind of like, you know?
I mean, graffiti was our first love.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it all started, just hip hop, graffiti, and just tagging and painting and bombing, you know what I'm saying? And that's where the essence of it came from. And then we got arrested probably like 3 times or something, me and Tim, like up in Oakland, Berkeley. So we had to take a break. We took a hiatus probably like 10 years or so, maybe.
Was it for painting?
It was, yeah, from graffiti,
Okay.
touching even aerosol.
Yeah.
So we started doing graphic design,
Yeah.
Photoshop, digital work. And then what happened? Like, what brought us back?
Yeah, I think we both had the itch. You know, it's like once you get the spray paint, is there something about it? It's always been calling us. Yeah, for us, like our inspirations was, you know, like Vogue and Dream and Crayon and Estria, just like local Bay legends.
Yeah.
And just practicing on the railroad tracks. And, you know, that was kind of like how we learned. And it was back then, I mean, it was a great vibe. Like even all those cats, even though there was that beef a little bit here and there, but like all those guys I mentioned, they're all like big brothers to me, and like always encouraging and all that. So yeah, it was just spray paint was, you know, you can only, once you're out there doing stuff on big walls, you can't just sit on an iPad or do a computer. You gotta be outside.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what called us back.
With me, it was like I had the same like story as these guys. That's why we all connect so well. I'm originally from Sacramento. I moved to the Bay Area like 17 years ago. And I mean, met these guys probably like what, 10, 7, 8 years?
Yeah, like 15.
Yeah, something like that. And I mean, I was definitely like always influenced with like Dream and all like the Bay Area heads. So like I've always like connected, even like far away at Sacramento. Like I came to the Bay all the time just to like paint or whatever, you know. And I've always seen like tags, Dream, Spy, you know, Vogue, like TDK and all that, Twist, Reminisce and all that. So definitely was influenced by the whole Bay.
Yeah, no, and I feel like the journey, it's, you know, it's a tough one, you know, in this art world, because in order to stay within your creative realms and not have to go and get a 9-to-5 flipping burgers or working at Home Depot, something has to give. You know, I feel like so many of us start in the street, just raw, whatever we have access to, whether we got boost cans or whether we're using some leftover tub paint or house paint. You know, we have to start somewhere. Nobody's going to just give you your first wall, right? You almost kind of have to go and take it or just kind of claim it, right?
Right.
You know, can you guys think, remember your first wall, first piece, first tag?
I feel we're pretty active, like in the Fruitvale yards.
Yeah.
That was like our stomping ground.
Cool.
Just, you know, just seeing the whole TDK fams and all that, that was just inspiration.
Yeah.
So that was almost kind of like a legal wall, right? So we go there, practice, showcase our skills, and then see who was there after.
Right.
So
I remember my first illegal wall was, I think we were doing 880. It was the Tennyson in Hayward. There's a walking bridge that goes. It was like, it was like the ugliest tag ever. I was like so nervous. Like, shaking
for sure.
And that was just like once that one experience, like I was hooked. Like just creeping around, being able to put something up there that 10,000, 20,000 people are going to see that have no idea who you are, and you have somewhat of a voice. You know, as a kid, you don't know how the world works, and it's just like it's alluring to be able to like have some kind of voice,
Right.
That no one can tell you not to do it. And you can just, you can do whatever you want. I love that.
Yeah. Well, I remember, man, I must have been like 13 or something, like going on my dad's shed, and he had like an old spray can. It wasn't even like Krylon. It was like a generic brand. Nah, I don't even know what it was. And then I just went down the street, like hit up this fence, and it just felt like I want to do this, you know? So.
Well, my first actual experience with spray paint, I had this older Vietnamese homie. He took me to the railroad tracks next to my house. It was Krylon black. With ultra flat black with the fat cap too, and I just remember when that shit flared, I was like, "Ooh!"
Hey, that smells.
Like
The smell, but even with a fat cap, to see all that paint release at one time and be able to try and control it.
Now, ultra flat black had the distinctive smell, like it had like that sweet smell too. So
the Osh, I remember the Osh smell.
Yeah, Osh, bro.
Osh is like, I'm too broke to buy craft. They only had like 2 colors of blue, 2 colors of red.
Delphinium blue.
Oh,
shit.
But just like what you mentioned on like the humbleness, like I feel like there's this, as I think a lot of it for me personally was like, I carry like this, I'm not really sure, you're not really sure if you're good or not. And like, you got to walk this fine line of being confident and being like humbled, where like if you go too far, like, oh man, I got this shit down, like I'm pretty good, like there's alarm bell should be going off in your head. And then if you're too humble, like if you're not assertive and confident enough, then you're not going to get anything done. So for me, it's always juggling this thing, like, am I progressing enough? Am I good enough? Should I be better? Like that whole conversation's happening through even now, like through every mural. It's like, damn, should this be better? Like, I've been doing this for a long time. Like, you know what I mean? So,
you have those moments as well too? Oh my goodness. Yeah. And you wonder if it's just you. I have, like,
right.
It's almost every mural I step to, I'm just kind of like, all right, what did I get myself into? It's a big ass fucking wall.
Exactly.
Do I know what I'm doing? I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it's like, as soon as you hit it, you just in the motion. It's like,
I feel it's always up to like 60% mural. You're like, man, I don't know, this shit kind of comes out.
It's good on the iPad. Hold on.
Like, come on, man. Like, but then once you get to that, like, when there's 10% left, and that shit starts. Details flow. Then it's like, oh, okay, I got it, bro.
It's so crazy trying to get to that 10% left.
Yeah.
And then even, I think for most artists, it's like, when are you finished?
Exactly. Yep.
It's like a combination of like, okay, what did I agree on with, the person that's purchasing this artwork, and where's my satisfaction of when I think that, this is done. Do you guys, wrestle with?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, as an artist, like I feel like my work's never done. So,
Right.
And I remember like distinctively, like at least the first like 5 years of doing murals, like there was always a point where it's like, man, like this crisis happens where you're like, this shit sucks. This is not gonna work out. Like, we should just paint over this shit. Like, there was that moment you have to get over that hump over like, okay, it's good enough. And like now I feel like I'm just getting to a point where like I know 100% that it's gonna be dope. Like before it was like, I don't know if this is gonna be dope.
The fear of the hump.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the fear of the hump. Like, you have to cross that hump.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's now I feel like we have enough confidence to be like, no matter what we do, I think it's gonna work out. But there's still flashbacks of that moment. We're like, I don't know.
It comes from experience and mastering your craft. But I feel like even the masters just kind of like wrestle with it as well too. And especially in this day and age where like everybody's social media feed is like, damn, that shit is like dope, man. I should retire. What is that?
Right.
He used paint to do that? Damn, that shit is crispy. But nobody can do it like you do it, and I feel like the experience of doing it for like a decade plus amount of years, you start to dial in and realize like,
Right.
there is a hump. And you're going to cross over the hump and you're going to reach into like the best of you, like it might not be the best painting in the world,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like reaching that place to where like that's when, at least for me, I know it's
Yeah, it's like always a battle within yourself, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you gotta have like those chit chats with yourself once in a while. Be like, you can do this. You got this shit.
yeah. And that's
No,
what,
that's dope to hear too, because
Yeah.
I feel like every artist goes through that.
yeah.
You know, now actually, I've been reading this book by Rick Rubin called The Creative Act,
Okay.
and he details like just music, art, whatever. Everybody goes through the same shit. I'm like, yeah, but he has like so right now, like I'm doing a sketch right for this one project. He has gems about doing the sketch process and like what you're thinking, and how to move past negative self-talk and all that shit. It's so dope, man.
Yeah.
Wait, did I put you on that book?
No, it was
Did you read it?
Yeah, I mean, I got it right when it came out. I'm about halfway through.
Yeah. Oh,
that shit's dope, right?
I gotta pick it up.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
He's on some
We out.
we out of the loop.
just and what inspired me about that book specifically is when he wrote the book, he said like his whole vision was like he wants anyone in any creative field to read his book, and when they just read 1 or 2 pages, they just want to go make something.
Yeah.
Like he said, if that was his goal, and he rewrote it a couple times because the original version was like he feel like it was more about like him being this guy versus like trying to inspire others. So that's like
Oh, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
I'm right on that roller coaster. So I just published a book.
That's you?
The art of articulation.
Okay.
And I did so initially it was like my journey and just kind of like, but I ran into the same, I was like, I don't want this to be about me. I really want this to be more like inspiring artists,
yeah.
others to, and so this is not just about like being a good art. This is more or less speaking to how do you talk about your art?
right on.
Being, finding that balance of like, assertive, but then also humble,
Yeah.
making sure that you observe first and read the room and then know how to move, so it's really just kind of like, my learning lessons, like one of them, even I have a, story in there about one of the first projects in SF that lady was like, yo, I got $20,000 for you to do this mural. I was like, 20,000?
I'm rich.
Let's go.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, it's pretty much all 4 walls of this whole, senior center. Right. So it was like one of the first BAMP team projects. And I was like, yeah, 20,000 is great. Supplies cost about, 2,000 or 3,000.
Yeah.
We got a team of like 7 artists. I want to make sure so everybody's getting like 1,000. So I'm like down to like 10,000. I'm just like, okay, all right, 10,000 is still 5 digits. All right, cool. 10,000 cuts down to 5 real quick. And the lady who hired me for the project pulls up like maybe 2 weeks into the project in a brand new Tesla. And this is like when the Teslas like first came out.
Yeah.
Right? And she pulls up and I'm like, where you getting, electric cars just we're all busting our ass in the, in the sun and just sweating and shit. And she coast up. She's like, hi guys. And I'm like, wow, what? She's like, yeah, new Tesla. I'm like, but how did you get it? How much was this project? She was like, yeah, it was like 130,000, but you said you were cool with 20. I was like, oh. And so in my mind, all I heard her saying was like, yeah, so I took the rest of the money and bought this new Tesla.
Oh my God.
I wanted to show y'all.
Damn.
So basically I have one of those I have that lesson in the book, but I changed my name, so not to embarrass myself or, it really is not to distract from the fact that these are lessons that, you're going to go through, but it's also like, how do you navigate? It's like, oh shit, I remember that dude said he got gypped. He thought 20,000 was a lot.
Yeah.
Know your value, know your worth.
Yeah.
Right, man.
So yeah, I got a copy for all of you guys.
Word.
Yeah, matter of fact.
We got a book too.
We got a book for you.
Stop it. Oh man, it's book season.
It's just up.
No, man.
Hey, thank you so much.
Like before, it was like you had to have business cards. So now you got to have a book.
Now you gotta have a book. Man, so no. And you guys probably know all of the lessons in this book is probably very remedial for you. So as you see in
we gotta read
the
this.
subtitle, Vocabulary for Starting Artists, which is not you guys.
I know
Yeah,
how hard it is to get a book done, man.
Bruh, it's work, man.
dope.
You know,
That's so
and
tight.
you always think like, oh, I got the story down. I know. Man, I went through like 5 iterations of just kind of like changing the tone. So it's not just like, yeah, and then I went and did, it's like, okay, we're changing that, the tone, but then also speaking to an audience of people that are like trying to like get something from it, as opposed to just like reading a narrative and just being like, oh, that was entertaining. You know?
Right.
So, yeah, man, Art of Articulation. I was so surprised that the title wasn't even taken. I was like, damn, this seems just too catchy for it not to already be out there in the world.
Yeah, that's a good title.
And so you got to go get this like trademarked or?
Yeah. So, yeah, it was a whole process. Editors, we're going to launch the book down at Ken Folks next month in December for the holidays and things.
Damn, bro. Congrats on that, man. That's a milestone right here.
It really is, man. And, you know, I'm not getting any younger. And a lot of these stories, I'm like, man, let me go ahead and share it with
You forget them.
before I forget them. Because that's the other thing, too, is like each project is a learning lesson.
Yes.
But it's like, you don't always have the time to just sit there and be like, what I learned on this project. More like, fuck, man, I'm broke as shit. You know, like, 20,000 went quick.
Yeah, man. Fuck the areas.
Had all those moments. So,
Real quick, speaking of audience,
yes.
me and we talk about this a lot. Like, when you make your art,
Yeah.
do you make it for the artists
Ooh.
or do you make it for?
Steve, I asked the questions on this show. Man. No, it's a good question, and I'll answer, and I want you guys to, respond as well, too. It's and I hate to blame everything on getting older, but as I get more mature and more experienced, it's a balance of the two. I feel like my life is really all about just trying to find balance.
Yeah.
Like when I was younger, I had a big swollen head, but we were talking about it, I think, earlier before you guys came. Busta Rhymes did a podcast episode on Diary of a CEO, and he was just talking about.
I've seen that.
You saw that one?
Yeah.
He was just talking about how like you have to be so like overconfident to the point to where you're almost like, delusional in order to like make it.
Yeah. That's hip hop.
Well, hip hop and even art,
Yeah.
in my younger days, like you couldn't tell me like I was the dopest artist, and I would clearly see other artwork that was better than mine.
Yeah.
But you almost have to like tell yourself to keep going and not give up. Like, man, my shit is just as dope as that. I'm doper than that. I could do that.
Yeah.
One day I'll be able to do that. Like you have to almost like lie to yourself.
Yeah.
To kind of like convince yourself to kind of keep going. If not, then you're like, because for me, even when I was younger, like I couldn't stand lack of confidence. Like if no matter what you did, I didn't care what you look like, or, just be like, if you were a trash man, do that shit with pride. Like it doesn't matter whatever you do, just be proud of that shit. So like anytime somebody's like, oh, I'm not that good, I was like, but nobody can do it like you do, so just do that shit.
Yeah.
But, it's like, wrestling with these belts as well too, like even personally where I'm like, do I still have it? I'm like, oh shit, there I'm going. I'm doubting. So you almost have to like, have moments of like delusion in order to like just keep going and pursuing your dream. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that. Man.
Have you ever had to lie to yourself and just, no?
It's just, you got to manifest shit. Just change your self-narrative. No, but I asked you that just because I'm interested.
And I don't think I even answered your question, but, to answer your question, for me in current projects and current paint situations, it's a balance. I hate to say it, I rarely paint just for myself anymore, unless I'm like drawing with my kids, and then I'm like, oh, don't draw on this one. Hold on, I think I want to keep this. But like it's always a project out in the world, so I find this like balance of like serving the community and still being able to do like what I love, which is public art. So in that vein, I got 6 kids. So I can't really just 6. Okay. That's only 6. But to feed them off of art, I can't do it. Like I got to be strategic with my projects and my planning. And then a whole military family that's like, you can't make a living off of art. And I'm like, watch me. Are you an artist struggling to sell your artwork? I know the feeling. I've been there. So much so that I decided to publish a book, The Art of Articulation. This book will help you not only navigate the art world, but give you the vocabulary to step into a room with confidence so you can sell your artwork. Pick up this book on Amazon today. And that was that delusion, once again. That like, yes, I can.
Yes, you can.
Well, I don't even know anybody who does, but I will. Like that delusion of like, being able to carve a path that you
quite haven't seen yet. And then along the path, meeting other people like, oh my God, you're the proof that I've been looking for. Thank you. You guys make money off your art too? Okay, cool. All right, this is tangible. This is possible.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
But, you know, finding that balance of pleasing the audience, it's public art, you know? When I get to do personal art, balls to the wall, that shit's for me. I'm drawing characters that I want to see doing kooky ass antics, you know, flicking off the man, like all that. That's, you know, when I'm in my bag, that's what I want. When I'm doing something public, I want it to still have edge. I still want to be able to sign my name to it. I still want it to, you know, like have some, you know, validity of like, oh, you know, it's mine, but then also do the streets fuck with it? I think that's one of the big reasons why I got into like tagging, graffiti, public art, because I'm like, okay, I think I filled up so many notepads of just, you know, doodles and right. Let me see if the streets fuck with it. Let me see if it gets buffed over or if somebody, oh, that's still up after a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Oh, okay.
So, all right, this shit's cool.
You know, somebody recognized it. Somebody, you know, wanted to write right next to it and didn't go over my shit. Okay, I think I'm making some headway here. All right, cool. So pleasing the audience, it's a big audience, you know. It's the graffiti community that'll tag over your shit. It's the client who hired you that wants it to be pretty Bay Bridges and poppy flowers. And you're like, another Bay Bridge project, man. How do I used to hate the shit.
Yeah, no more Tribune Tower.
But then, you know, the wrestle also is like, how do I make everyday shit look cool?
Yeah, that's what it is.
The Visit Oakland piece that you guys did, you know, on the Marriott, timeless. I mean, like, you guys made that shit. It's not even, I didn't even put it together afterwards, like, oh, this is a commissioned visit. Oh, well, it's on the Marriott, so somebody had to come in. But, like, it just looks so raw. The giraffe chewing a little, you know, it's like, is that weed or is it the screens? Like, you know, like, it's so many pieces of that piece that are just so innovative to where it's not just like a corporate piece. Right. So I feel like finding that, you know, playful balance of like pleasing the Marriott, but then also pleasing the streets, pleasing myself.
Yeah.
And is, you know, what I wrestle with every project as well too. Is like, all right, the person who's paying for this, I want them to recommend me to their, you know, the next person. But I also want the streets to fuck with it. You know, I don't want somebody to just come and tag over the shit and be like, toy, and be like, no. Yeah. Which I've had as well too, to where it's like that constant conversation of like, you know, what is edgy enough, what is, you know, satisfying to me, but ultimately what do the streets fuck with? Because I've had pieces, you know, like we did the CVS piece over on Broadway, and, you know, Tone's daughters in it, with, you know, my son, I put two of my boys, and it's basically like little children building up the city of Oakland. Which I was like, it's sweet, but, you know, it's cool. You know, if you fuck with Oakland, we're talking about building up Oakland. It lasted for about 3 months, and then one tag, and then it just
And that's what it is.
And it was just
That one, it's like a cancer, man. Like,
so then, you know, a year later, you know, CVS was like, yeah, you know, we're still getting fined. Can you, you know, redo it? And I was like, yeah, we're going to redo it, but I'm hiring, or I'm going to get all of the dopest, you know, graffiti artists, and you're just going to have a graffiti museum on your wall. And this is what's going to keep the streets from like just writing little tags and, you know, I don't know how long it's been. It's been a couple months now, but nobody's
still good?
Still good, you know. I mean, it's you know, who came out on that? Lords came out on that, you know, TDK, X Vandals, Aerosol. So it was just like a whole, so that was the other thing too, is like I was saying, like, I play ignorant to where I'm like, I don't know who doesn't like, like, if you like colors and if you fuck with the town and you just want to do some dope shit, then I fuck with you. I really don't want to hear who you don't fuck with. If anybody here on this set, you don't just, you know, sit this one out and maybe come, you know, or find somewhere to where you don't have to engage.
Idea,
Because we're all out here, you know, like us fighting amongst each other in the art community, whether it's like graph, commission art, it's like, we're the only profession with struggling in front of it. struggling artists, regardless if you're doing graph, whether you're doing professional, like, we don't need to be at each other's neck.
Nah,
Yeah, we
Yeah.
need to be boosting each other. So
exactly.
that's like,
That's what it is.
so yeah, anytime I can like make that collaboration or find that balance of like, you know, the streets fucking with it, and then also community stakeholders, people that own property, you know. And as time has progressed, they've started fucking with street art more. Because when I first got into, you know, street art, even just trying to do commission pieces, I would like hide the spray can. I'd be like, no, brushes? I'm using all brushes. I know you see woolly black man coming, and you automatically assume I'm coming with can.
Stereotypes. Huh?
So it's all brushwork.
Eco-friendly paint.
Trying to get there. I'm like, I haven't found a nice eco-friendly. No disrespect to any of the eco-friendly. If you have some good eco-friendly, please let us know.
Price down too.
And bring the price down
Absolutely.
so that we can work with it. But no, I mean, you guys, you know, I'll bring it back to you. You know, so how do you guys wrestle? Because I feel like you guys do a good job of finding that nice balance of, you know, just dope shit, and then also, you know, what the commission is asking for.
Right.
Or do you only take on projects that you know is like,
No, we've done a lot of stuff where it's been like, all right, the client is taking the lead.
yeah,
You know?
yeah,
Like you said, it's a delicate balance, man. And but the main thing is just trying to stay true. Like, would you want to paint that? Is this going to look dope in your portfolio? Are you proud of this art?
right.
You know, and just are you getting better with each project? So it's hard. I mean, I don't think there's no clear cut answer to that. But for me, like, I think I'm painting more for the artist in me and the artist that's gonna see it.
Yeah,
I mean, ideally, that's what I would like to do as well.
yeah.
You know, because there's artists out there that get paid to paint their style and
Their style
anything
all day.
all day. So I'm like, yeah, what is the angle we got to take on that? You know?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean I think that's always a challenge, but I like what you said about you could paint the Bay Bridge 20 times, but can you paint it again with a different angle? Can you make it more interesting than the last time? It doesn't really matter, because I think once a lot of early for me, for all artists, is like you're trying to find your voice and your style,
yeah,
and then once you kind of land on something, now you can reinterpret the world a new way. So before it's like you're exploring all these things, and now it's like we've come up with a style that works for us after all of our arguing back and forth and vetoing.
No, you guys argue?
Oh,
Nah, no, never.
It's the worst. And still, I mean, it's happening less and less, but still, it's like we're always. That's one thing about being in a group versus a single artist is you have people to push back on you versus just the client. So it's now we've kind of, after all the headbutting of each trying to assert their own dominance of their style, the Illuminary style has come out.
Mesh.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, you want us to paint something super boring? Okay, like how can our style apply to that to make it amazing? Like there's a new challenge there every time.
Yeah.
And I think that's what keeps it interesting, even though you might be painting mundane things.
Who came up with the concept for the turtles flying on the storage unit on the, was that on the 80?
That was on the 80.
Joint effort as well.
Yeah, I think the client wanted he wanted a marine aquatic scene
Okay,
because owner was from San Diego and he surfed a lot.
got it.
And I was like, okay. We was talking about animals, like each animal represented art, music, but kind of just like, you know, Oakland in general, just like, you have this, you know, super dope hip hop turtle but it has hieroglyphics logo in there, you know.
Bruh, I just saw the Hyro logo a week. I think coming back from the airport was the first time, you know, I was just kind of like half like jet lagged, and I'm looking at him like, and that piece always makes me smile when I go by it. I'm just like, love that piece. And I think I just saw the Hyro logo inside of the shell, and like it looks like a little speaker.
Yeah.
I was just like, yes. I love pieces that you see, you know, new things in it every time. It's like a little I Spy.
And that's literally one of the goals we had at all times is like, how can we make a mural interesting after the 50th time? And so I appreciate that, because that's kind of like is literally one of our goals.
Yeah.
But I think the turtle might have come, the first idea of the turtle might have come because there was turtle not too far from there, there used to be an old school Oakland mural on 880 that was
Yeah.
I think they left one up.
Yeah.
So I think that might have been
It's like photorealism.
subconscious.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was like a Wyland looking type,
Yeah.
but I think that might have been subconsciously where that.
Oh, because it was getting faded, but we liked it so much. We're like, hey, we should recreate it somehow. I think, that was subconsciously, I guess. But yeah, that mural was ridiculous, bro. We were painting like 4 feet away from power lines.
Yeah, it was,
What?
and it was muddy. Remember that?
No.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, OSHA did certify us to be there, but I think that it's supposed to be 10 feet, and I believe we were definitely closer.
Well, hold on. Who's OSHA? A lot of people might not know.
That's the what is it? Occupational safety hazard.
Association or something.
Yeah. So I mean, everything was legit, but like I didn't feel like it was because it was like. And then they were like,
No
hey,
way.
if it's raining hard, definitely don't be near there because it could arc through the water in the air.
But we were painting there. We were painting while it was pouring.
No way.
And then the big ass scissor lift, they got stuck in the mud. So we're throwing rocks and pallets under there.
And they're trying to get it level. Been there.
And all that.
No, just to move it. Like,
Just
there
to-
was like 3 feet of mud all around that.
Oh, was the wheel spinning on you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun challenge.
Fucking our paint sprayer got stolen.
Oh.
Broad daylight in like a secure construction zone. A guy walks in and the security guard saw him, but the guy was so nonchalant he literally took it and washed it off.
It
The security guard and then put it in his truck, and they were like, "Oh, I thought that was your guy."
Listen, it's so crazy the things you can get away with in broad daylight.
Then we had a guy smash. We had a drive-by.
Oh, he drunk driver and he smashed the telephone power line.
No, it was not a drunk driver. It was a guy. It was a chase of guys with money. They grab the money. They run out. A guy comes out with a gun chasing him. This happened like at night. We weren't there, but it happened at night.
What?
That's.
I think I remember that in the news.
Oh, shit. Wait, then who's the one that smashed into the telephone?
No, that was probably something.
Oh.
Different one. Yeah.
Oh,
There
man.
was a lot of fuckery going around.
Hella fuckery.
Man, I'm trying to pee. I'm like, okay, which story should we follow? No, the power lines.
Yeah.
One thing I was gonna say is like people don't realize that when you get into this public art, and of course, you know, like as a muralist, you always want to go bigger, and like the bigger it gets, the more you realize you signed up to be a construction worker and not just an artist.
Right.
So you got to get permits and you got to get certificates. I remember we were probably on my like 10th or 12th, you know, like lift project.
Yeah.
And somebody was like, well, you know, you need to get certified for
Yeah, you
that.
gotta
And I was just
take
like,
that.
Huh.
okay, sure. Yeah, no doubt. Then we had used,
Photoshop this shit real quick.
yeah.
Hey, remember when we did the test or whatever, but like online, we were all online, like talking to each other, like this is the answer, right?
Just ass.
We had to take a $600 swing stage course where the guy basically just emailed us a video that we had to watch. I was like,
Yeah.
bro, $600 for that? Come on, man.
Really?
Yeah, you could have sent us a video. I would have thrown you $100. But
Hey, on a swing stage, does it feel as scary as being on a boom lift? Do you feel less scared because you're closer to the wall?
Rachel, which one's scarier? Swing stage or boom lift?
Yeah.
Right.
Now we know that if I'm
Yeah.
gaining the roof,
Right.
the back machines and dangling from
That could tip.
Yeah. And the further you extend the huh?
Share what you.
Shit. What did she say?
I mean, she basically said swing stage. She feels safer in because you're always connected.
On a
The
harness.
boom lift could tip over, and then it doesn't really matter if you're harnessed in.
Yeah, you're falling over regardless. And yeah, that is just the further you extend the arm out on the boom lift, that shit just has like this uneasy sway. Especially like
Yeah.
if the driver, me and Artistic from Kiss My Black Arts were talking about, like we were trying to like figure out how to learn the shits, and of course we're like, yeah, we know how to, you know, like so the guy would just drop it off, and then we're just like jerking that shit right when we're first learning, and that shit is just like the higher you up, you start getting lazy, you
Yeah.
don't want to like come all the way down. Just so you can go forward. So you're like, I can move like 5 feet up here. This is like this.
And no.
Yeah, we had that moment with the elephant piece.
Yeah.
Because that was a wall. Okay, that wall's like 100 feet tall,
Yeah.
and And when we first pitched it, the A's commissioned that. I was pretty sure they were going to be like, nah, we can't afford that. So I just threw it out there like, yeah, let me check out this wall, blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right, cool, let's go. And we were like, we didn't even think it through. Like, fuck. And so the first day one we showed up, we didn't even get the right lift. I thought we got a 60-foot lift. That I just assumed, like, no one knew how. I was like, I counted the things. Okay, 10.
It's tall. It's big.
We got a 60-foot lift. It didn't even reach halfway. We were going up like 40 feet. We're already like hella scared.
Yeah. At that point, at that moment right there, did you debate making the design smaller, or did you know you wanted to get a bigger lift?
I think we did consider it, and we did make it probably like 5 feet smaller, maybe 10 feet smaller. Yeah. But I do remember having like an anxiety attack at that moment, and we're like, you look at this wall, and we're like, holy shit, dude, what the hell do we get ourselves into?
Those moments, especially when you're like ordering equipment, you're like, oh shit, I ordered okay, this isn't just like some brushes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they dropped off. Eventually we got the 120-foot lift. The guy drops it off in Oakland traffic on 19th Street.
Thanks, guy.
All right, peace. And I'm in traffic now. I got to take it across 3 lanes and then go come in here. And I've never driven one of these this big yet. And so I was like, all right, here we go.
Poker face. No, that is, so for a lot of people that don't know what we're talking about, Rise and Grind is the title of that Stomper piece. Oakland classic. We were just debating, like, you know, half our team was trying to tell the Illuminaries that the piece is older than it really is. We're like, no, that thing is a staple. It's got to be at least 10 years old. And you guys were like, no, I think it's only like 5 or 6 years. But
8 years. Well, it's 2017.
2017. Quick math. 7. Going on 8 years. No, it feels like such a staple. I mean, now that the A's are like, you know, departing and on their way out, like, it just feels like even so much more of just like, what do you call it? Just like, a very prime heyday of Oakland, to where, like, had all the sports teams. Stomper was like, you know, going to all the little kid parties and picnics and shit like that. And what you guys did with what people know as like the playful, lovable, friendly Stomper. Yeah. Like, you guys made that shit look so fucking raw.
Some hip hop shit, man.
Yeah.
Bruh, it's beyond some hip hop shit. It is like some like 300 type shit. It's like, you know, like, it looks like just like some militarized, like, the armor on that shit is just so raw. I'm sure everybody had a hand on designing.
Right on. And shout out to Troy and Travis and Lakin at the Oakland A's. They're not there now anymore, but they gave us, they were one of the dopest clients. They came in and they were like, we don't want an inferior process, but just do something, like, you guys know what to do. Yeah. Now, they almost gave us no direction. Yeah, I think it was, and what we pitched at them was like, we want to reinterpret Stomper in our own way.
Was that the first design, the first concept?
We knew it was going to be Stomper.
Concept, yeah. So shout out to buy our book, but all the different concepts are in there of what it came to. But that was the first conceptual idea.
Yeah.
And then we went through like a ton of iterations, obviously.
What's going on, good people? Andre Jahmora here, and as the executive director of the Bay Area Mural program, I want to tell you about Chroma Paint. Chroma is our go-to brand, and we want to make sure it's your go-to brand too. Visit them at their website at chromaonline.com.
And definitely shout out to our partner, our crew member, Ramali. He's not here, he's in San Diego, but he spearheaded that whole design and just took that shit over the top, man. And but Tim did a lot of research too about kind of like the armor of what it could represent. And we want to dive into that?
Well, yeah, I mean, we just looked into, like, I had no idea, but they used elephants as war animals. So like everyone knows, like, horses were used in, like, that's in all the movies, Gladiator,
right,
horses. But before that, they actually used elephants. And so when I did my research on that, I just went down a rabbit hole of like armor and all that stuff. And so what ended up happening was, like, you know, you have this cross between the armor of the elephant and then the armor that the catchers and like the baseball players wear.
Right.
So that's kind of like where that design like was born out of, was like how can we make how can we make? I was never really a fan of the Stomper, like it just looked too like circus. Like it's a circus elephant.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That's not threatening at all. He's
Yeah.
balancing on a ball. Like, what's the circus we always said?
Barnum Bailey.
Barnum and Bailey.
Yeah, yeah.
That ain't tight. Like,
No, the elephant
It's
on
not
the
a good representation of Oakland. We don't do that. We don't balance on balls here in
all you
Oakland.
think of is like you feel sad for the elephant.
Yeah.
Being in the circus. So it was like, how can we reimagine this and like just
Give the elephant the power.
Yeah, empower the elephant.
And we actually had done one on the Kapoor Center on Broadway. This actually came out of before that. We did the Rising Grind concept was a smaller version of that. Did that work?
just a regular elephant, no armor. Or anything.
No armor, but we just did like an elephant and Rising Grind and big letters
Nice.
on Broadway. So that was like a version 2 of that.
Sweet.
And it was dope. And Ramali, our buddy out in Ramali, who's also in the Illuminaries, he's some next level.
Yeah.
So he was like, he did the final sketch was out of his mind.
Dope. So when we say the Illuminaries, is he a member of the Illuminaries?
Yeah.
So how many members total make up the Illuminaries?
I mean, so that's a weird, we always hated that like idea of like the crew, like who's in.
Come on, man.
Like, I don't,
It's like affiliates, you know, cousins of.
but I mean, technically, yeah, there's 4 of us that are usually always painting
Yeah.
together, but there's another 4 to 6 or 8 that we always
Like hit up.
all the homies that like we always like to involve them.
Yeah.
Shout out to Buku, Kufu,
Yeah.
Bounce, Steven Anderson.
Definitely.
Yeah, man, is it Felicia? City folks, man.
Dion.
Yeah.
Knew it.
Kevin.
No, they're all. So did any of them work on the elephant or?
I think we had a few other friends come
Yeah.
in.
Cool.
Oh, man.
Matt G.
Whose idea was it to put the graph down at the bottom?
I think
You know, that has been an inspiration.
I think it might have been mine. I mean, because we're always thinking about graffiti proofing our stuff, like we had talked about, and I knew it was like this is gonna get destroyed down here. Like, there's no way. And so I don't know how we came up with that, but also I don't know if you guys remember back in the day. Who was it? Oakland is proud. Like that lettering was at Lincoln State Freeway.
Oh yeah.
Was that TD?
OG? No, it was an OG Oakland artist. He was
an old school piece.
before TDK. He was like, he might have been before TDK, but this was out in West Oakland on Grand. It was like this huge Oakland is proud piece that ran for years, and I think it had just got painted over a couple years before that. So we were like, hey, we should
Bring that back.
yeah. So that was the concept. Was like, hey, let's just let people. It's gonna get tagged anyway, so let's just let it.
No, that was so raw. How like you just have so many like freestyles and tags within the bottom of it, and then just like outlined. I was like, that is not.
And
Not only does
Buku one did that.
Yeah? Buku, yeah, man, he's raw. Got a chance to work with him over on the other CVS. Shout out to Buku One.
Mr. Generous.
And then even with that, you know, Rise and Grind, second edition Stomper piece, I feel like you were talking about that was the original concept, but how many, and I guess to just preface it, a lot of people, especially young artists, don't realize like what it takes in order to get to a final piece. A lot of times people just think, oh, that was your first design, client loved it. So when they hear that you have to do 3 or 5 versions and then iterations off of those versions, some people get discouraged. How many iterations or versions of that?
Yeah, probably like 20.
Yeah.
And that was internally too. We're pushing for it.
Yeah, maybe more. And then the client maybe saw like half of those or less.
Yeah.
But lots and lots and lots and lots of revisions.
Yeah. People don't realize like it. I mean, even I feel like maybe in my younger days I was naive and just would lie and be like, oh, this is great. But as you really like hone your craft, you start to realize, you know what? This could look dope like 3 or 4 different ways. Let me see
Yeah.
how it would play out like this or fill the wall like that.
Right.
And sometimes you have to know what doesn't look good before you know what like ultimately,
Yeah.
you know, does look good.
Yeah.
Like you don't ever want to settle on the first.
When you really hone it, when you're really like proud of what you do, like, yes, I feel like you go through these type of, so, like making sure that artists, that are on the come up don't get discouraged when
Well, yeah.
you're on your 5th or 6th iterate. Like the first one is never it.
And there's a huge maturity part of that, like, because a lot of it is our ego is that like, hey, like like I know what I'm doing. Like you guys don't need to, I don't need to sketch this out for you. Like it's gonna come out. And then you go through the whole client thing, and then you're working with team members too. A lot of it is ego checking and that realizing that like it can always be better.
Yeah.
And that you got to get it on paper to be able to
pick it apart.
You got to realize that it's not perfect. Once you put it on, we're afraid to go through that process because we think it's perfect in our head.
Yeah.
And if you just let me do it, it'll be great. But once you put it on paper, you're like, oh shit,
it did.
Yeah.
Look that good.
Right.
And you learn even with clients, because I used to hate that moment of like working on something, a design for like 2-3 hours a day, however long, and then like having to submit it to the client for only them to like take 2 minutes to be like, make that blue, don't like that. And I'm like, I spent my life working, I didn't sleep. Now I've gotten, strategic to where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna work on something that I think is kind of dope, not get married to it, and just ready for them to pick that apart. Yeah. And even looking at it sometimes be like, okay, what would I pick apart before I even make those changes? Yeah. Let me submit this and see if they have if they're on the same page of what they would pick apart as well too.
I think like one thing that mentally changed in my head, because like the sketching process is always, we've kind of like hated that. At least I hated that. I was like, look, can we just get to the wall already? Can we? And but what I like, something that I changed in my head to make myself excited, because the iPad changed my whole game.
Oh, yes, it did.
Being able to take a picture of a wall and then sketching on the actual picture.
Satisfying.
I started to like teach myself to get excited about as if I'm on that wall. Like, dude, like this is going to be like, we're painting on this wall.
Yeah.
That gets me excited. And so like, I think we've kind of grown to love the sketch process. We also get, that's where all the challenging your ideas comes out and being able to work out new things. Because we used to do a lot of our working out those ideas on the wall.
Bruh. So I'm a little bit older, so I came from that same school of just kind of like get on the wall and just figure it out. It's like you back up, no, that eye's too big, just kind of like chop it up, like no projector, no squiggle grid. Like I'm a little dyslexic, so like grid system just never made. I was just like, fuck a grid, just put that shit up there, and always just kind of like, man,
like you ain't a good artist if you needed all that.
Man, when I was younger, I used to think that, but now, like, I don't care. Like, after going through the shits and being like, all right, even if you project, you can still lose your grid, you can lose your project, and now it's like, even if you got a dope outline, how are you gonna fill that thing? How are you gonna bring that thing to life? So, like, having so much respect for just different processes,
right?
As not just like, oh, you got to go. And I learned along the way too. It's like you save so much time, because I used to be looking at shit like, is that eye even straight? It's like when it's projector's like, no, that's what that shit says.
That's what that shit says.
All right, go ahead. Yeah.
A quick shout out to Del Fresh. He was he got Oakland is proud.
Okay.
Early 2000s Fresh, PHRESH.
Del, old OG.
Yeah.
Got a chance to paint with him over here on this wall right here. He's got a Del throw up where it's like an old Peanuts character, like black, like kind of Del is the old homie. Yeah, he's definitely.
That's tight.
That's super, just cool, man. Yeah. Sometimes I don't know. Everybody has different paths, but sometimes you expect for like old heads that have been doing it for a while to just kind of be a little arrogant.
Yeah.
But no, it's super chill.
That's what's up.
That's what's up.
Oh man, so we talked about the rise and grind. We talked about the visit Oakland. Do you guys have any favorite pieces, Illuminary piece? Oh, the Lake Merritt is another one. The library. That's you spearheaded that one.
Yeah, that was a old design that I had.
Yeah.
It came out pretty well. With
Man, it's so funny too, and this is where I love the conversation of public art, because I've done that too, to where it's like I've had old designs, put it out there, and you never know how they resonate with people, and in your mind you're like, I even saw your body language, you're like, yeah, old design, but like that piece is like so, it's like so heartwarming.
Yeah.
And every time I go by the lake, it's just kind of like, okay, sweet.
Yeah.
going with the kids, even playing in that playground right there. It was like dope piece, little head wrap.
Right? Oh, with that
Elongated
lady that
book,
came, that there was.
Oh yeah, crazy story about that piece was that.
There's always stories behind it. That's why I like to jog my memories. Yeah.
No, I'll send you. So he designed that piece, and was it colored that way before?
No,
Okay,
it
so we
wasn't.
colored
But like,
it up.
she did have a
the
head
red
wrap.
on. She had the colorful head wrap, and then the little girl is my niece,
Oh, dope.
who lives in Oakland. And then as we're painting it, a lady walks by, and she's literally wearing and looks
Like that whole out. Yeah.
wearing the head wrap that's that color in a red thing, and we're like, what? And like, we got to take a picture of you. She's like, no. And then she comes back an hour later, and she's like, okay, I'll take the video. So we got a picture with her.
It was cool.
Yeah, no, that'd be
dope.
dope. Because we're always looking for like photos to like insert and do overlay. So yeah, that'd be.
And it,
Shout out to the lady in the red jacket, and the head
piece.
wrap.
And that was a challenging piece too, because it was during the wildfires. Remember that? Like everybody was wearing a mask. Like the air was all.
That was like the worst.
It was the worst.
day ever.
Yeah, like it was smoky. Like everybody was wearing a mask. Like it was like the pandemic, before the pandemic. Yeah, that was crazy, bro. That was wild.
Wildfire season.
Yeah. I think my favorite piece is probably the Mac Trey piece. So the first step.
The Steph McDre?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was just like a fun organic piece that came out of like, we did that one. That was not a commission. We just
That one was like right by the highway and that
yeah,
little
it was
cutty.
actually not sanctioned or anything. It was just
It was a
wall.
real cutty spot.
Yeah, it was a wall that I had been like eyeballing for a long time, and then when the idea of us did it, like we just kind of snipped the fence link and went in and just did it, and it's just like
Real guerrilla shit.
it was like a viral moment that we got lucky on. It was fun.
Yeah, no, that one ran for a minute, and it was just a town staple. I just remember seeing like even people that weren't from the town just like making reference to that piece, like Steph McDre piece. I'm just like, yeah, that should go so hard.
But that was like one of the first ones where like it was a light bulb moment for me that like what the effect is of public art on the community, because like that intersection was pretty bad, and that was like that building that we painted was kind of like you know, it was used probably drug den or something, like trap house or something.
I don't even know what the purpose of that little bit. I was just like, this is so cutty.
Well, like the neighbors were coming out in droves, like us offering us food and
Dope.
beer and just like thanking us for changing the vibe of that whole corner. And
Yeah.
it did change the vibe, and eventually that lot, which had been like done nothing with
Forgot
20
about,
years, 30
yeah.
years, they got a client. Like it got rented out, like a car company was started using it, and it was
Dope.
directly because of the mural.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely. So
Definitely.
that was where it's like I was like, wow, like okay, we're actually doing some shit here that is helping some people.
No, man, you guys are pushing the envelope and, you know, getting, you know, forgotten about locations. And I think about this as well, too. It's like in big towns, big cities, like, you know, everything's gray and brown. So, you know, just you're driving in this matrix of just like, you know, mundaneness to where it's like, even for myself, when a mural pops up, especially a new piece, I'm just kind of like, oh, shit, where'd that come from? Who did that? You know, like, and I feel like for people that aren't artists, it impacts or hits, you know, like tenfold, because, you know, for them, it's like even just hearing people like talk about it and being like a fly on the wall, and just hearing people like, I don't know where that mural came from. It was the blank wall yesterday. Now there's art on it. And you're just like, oh, that shit is a magic trick to a lot of people.
So that's why we do it.
Yeah, man. No, I mean, and that's where I started, like, you know, the Illuminaries, you guys are like great at your craft, to where like it almost becomes a magic trick when the Illuminaries hit a new piece. It's just like, I didn't see that yesterday. Didn't see them working on it. But that shit is there now. Yeah, man.
That's what's up.
That.
Hell yeah.
So, Steve, you got a favorite piece?
Man, I'm gonna say the elephant just
Yeah.
because of the scale and that I'm hella scared of heights.
Yeah.
All of us. Well, Tim is more tolerable, but we're all super scared
Yeah,
of
yeah.
heights, and just to conquer that and break through that fear and just work together for that long on that piece, it was amazing, man. Just so many memories
Yeah.
about it, so many stories.
Oh,
So
man.
that's my favorite for sure. And I heard some developer bought that parking lot And I think maybe in a few years it might get gone over, or they're going to build over it. Not sure exactly what, but
So if you hear that, if you're in the town, take as many photos of the rise and grind while you can. But yeah, we do hope that it sticks around as long as possible, because it's just one of my favorite pieces downtown, for sure. Man, so it brings me to like one of our new portions of the podcast. Have you guys ever used chroma paint in your mural?
I was just
Yeah, we were just wondering about that. Like,
So we got this sponsorship. We wrestle with it. I am from an old school where I will paint with anything. It doesn't necessarily got to be the best, but I find that chroma paint is pretty good. Other team members, I won't call them out on the podcast. Say that Nova Color. If you want to give us a sponsorship, Nova, we would love to use Nova Color.
Nova was the shit.
Yeah, but this
this-
chroma paint is pretty good. And we've had David Burks from Hungry Ghost, Cheeto, over there in the blue, and Sorrel work on this canvas. We were looking at just doing some little modge podge of just kind of like collaborations from the podcast. So
that's dope.
if somebody wants to play around with some paint while we just talk about the last 5 minutes, yeah.
That shit's strong. Like,
You
he was just doing light painting yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was on Market Street for
It
First
doesn't have to
Thursday.
be anything in particular. Like if you want to just kind of like fill in that bottom section, I got some brushes.
Okay. Yeah.
I got
yeah.
whatever color you want.
Look at this color.
And then if you don't mind
Yeah,
just
nah.
giving us a thumbs up or a thumbs down on whether or not you
Okay.
Fuck
Yeah,
it.
no.
honest review. That's what we're looking for.
Just open. Could I open this one?
You can open any of the ones you want. Yep.
Where's this company based? Are they from out here or?
They're in Australia, so they're basically making their break. Yep, any of those. Any brushes, small ones, big ones. So they've been here in the States for, I would say, about like 4 years, but they're just trying to get more into the market.
Or
So they
do you have a hand in this? Or are you kind of?
No, I did a mural on the back of Flax when they moved here to Oakland. You ever been over to our store?
oh yeah. See,
That's our Zo too.
Yeah.
always see your piece up there.
And so yeah, I was proud of that piece until Nichos came like a week later.
Oh
Like
shit!
it took me like 4 or 5 days to do that piece. My son helped me on it, and we had Nichos came in like 2 days and did that fucking T-Rex.
Reps, yeah.
And I was just like, it was one of those moments where I was like, fuck, should I even still paint? And like, I'm using all brush. So basically Chroma, Flax had hired me to do that piece. And they were like, hey, we got this Chroma paint that we want to try out. They're trying to test the market. Do you want to use it? I was like, I'll paint with anything. Let me see. So that's when I got introduced to Chroma. And it's got a nice texture. It's nice and thick.
Yeah, I like it. I like the thickness of it.
So I was like, yeah, I'll do the whole mural. So it's still, starting to fade a little bit now. But even the Nichos piece, I think he used Montana's. But yeah, he came out there and was just a fucking precision-ass surgeon. He was just like so precise. It was just like no errors. It looked like he was just like, this goes here, 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 here. Rib goes here. The veins go inside here. The rib cage, like, bro, I had to put my brushes down. I was in class, man. And that's where I'm humble enough to where, like, I am such a student of this art shit. Like, I have moments where I just sit down and watch Rachel or Zoe paint just because I'm like, that is not how I do it. And I'm fucking in awe of, like, how, like, just wrapping my head around how people mix colors or even, like, this shit is science, bro. But it's just like we have fun doing science, so watching other people is just, so like Nichos, he was just a fucking scientist, bro. He was just like, dum, dum, dum. Like he would put the veins in, he'd already have the ribs, but then put the veins down and then just like, oh no, rib goes over that vein. I'm like, like overlapping shit where you've already put detail to like the veins. So like you would have the red and blue veins, but they'd already have highlights in them. And then he would just go over top of it with the rib.
So
I'm like,
he was working in layers. Think that. Okay.
so, like, you know, and I've done it, but there's times where I got to hold my breath. I'm like, all right, if I fuck this up, I got to redo the whole background. Here we go. No overspray, please. Okay, cool.
I remember those moments. You're like, all right, this line can make or break the whole piece.
The whole piece. Yeah.
5 minutes self-talk, you're like,
You could do it.
shake, fuck.
And then just
4 times for each straight.
just even talking with him, he's like, no, I fucked up like 10 times already. I'm like, well, that's where you're truly a master, because I didn't see any of the fuck-ups. And I think that that's where a lot of times we're in our own head, to where, like, there's several times where I've done something like, that shit doesn't look good. Go to sleep, come back, I'm like, like, all right, it makes sense.
Nah, that's kind of what we talk about all the time, is like being so self-critical. Like, a lot of that you got to put to bed. Because
Yeah.
we're really doing all this work. We're doing months of prep and a week of painting for like somebody's 3-second impression. They're gonna look like, most people are gonna look at that, cool. And then
Yeah,
go about
it's an
their
elephant with armor. Yeah,
Like-
cool.
So it's like, I always try to, we got to train ourselves to be like, okay, like let's, and that's, I think, where like this for me, exploring like what is abstract paint. It's like, it's really like you're boiling down that moment, that feeling, that moment someone looks at your art for that split second, and you give your that energy comes across.
Yeah.
Like, that's what matters. It doesn't matter if it's like the 3D is right here, the shadow's right there. Like, it's that vibe that you're putting out, and you got to be confident in that, and not so self-critical of, is it this or that?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's tough, but then sometimes if that shadow isn't right, it just doesn't feel natural. And that's where people are just kind of like, oh, I resonate with that piece just because you put that extra time into knowing, okay, my light source is here. Like, I've done pieces so many different ways where I focus on, my light source. Other pieces where I'm like, the light source is coming from 5 different angles on this piece. I just wanted to highlight his forehead here, his shoe over on this side, and but it's like you said, it's about that feeling that is evoked, afterwards.
But that's like, back to his question, is like, is the shadow right? Like, that you're doing, that thought is like, that's your own mentality of like, I don't want these other artists thinking I don't know how lighting works.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, this is for the community and for the layman, not the non-artist.
Yeah.
Just like, they're going about their day. Like, they will never know whether that shadow's right. So there is that balance. Like,
It is.
We want to be technically correct. We want to show other artists that we are good. But also, it's like, a lot of that doesn't even matter. Like, the grandma's walking down the street, she loves it.
She loves it. She thinks it goes so hard. And that brings me to, like, my next concept of art as an illusion. I feel like you guys have like such a great name with the Illuminaries. Can you elaborate on where the name comes from, and even just like what it means to you?
Yeah. I mean, we started kind of out as like a hip hop group back in 2000.
Like flowing, rhyming, DJing?
Don't
Right.
put that out there.
Come on. Is there anything online? Hold on.
You don't hear right when I say that, bro.
Was the group called the Illuminaries?
No, it ain't online. I scrubbed
So,
that. I have
please find any
No,
hip-hop.
no, we're not online.
We're not online.
You won't find anything. So we all had on cassette.
Tone. Remember we talked about him being a master? If we can find, we won't put it on the
Oh
podcast
no, one of his flows is on there.
just for personal reasons.
Any piece he did.
It was like a quick.
He has a little flow on there.
But
No, don't feel bad. I used to do music. You can't find too much of it online anymore. Like, I did the intro for this podcast, but it's like very short.
Yeah, but that name, when we were doing that name.
Oh, he found it. No, I just look like.
No, it's actually it came from like a biblical reference. There was a verse in the Bible that said like, shine as luminaries to the world.
Wow.
And in different translations, like, that name's not there, but in the one we were looking at, it was a luminary. And so like, I was like, dang, that's kind of a dope. First of all, that's like a dope like message, is like to shine your light. Like, what you're doing, shine. So that's kind of where that came from, and then it became Illuminaries. It's like, okay,
illuminate, shine, shine light on.
it's like ill like cotton styles.
Yeah.
So that was kind of where that came from.
Dope.
So that was formed like circa 2000.
Wow.
But then, so when we took that hiatus from doing painting, graffiti, and we got back into it probably like 2010, 2012, we started doing more like,
Shout out Tone Kai Butt.
oh yeah, hell yeah. We started doing more kind of client work. We're like, damn, we need a name for ourselves. Like, it can't just be Steve and Tim.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, let's just bring back Illuminaries. And it just clicked, man.
It works, man. It works.
And back then, like a lot of your early art voice is like you're trying to figure out like what am I saying? Like what am I? And early on, I think we thought we were gonna be like political or like we need something that's gonna piss people off and people are gonna either love it or hate it, and we need to be like controversial and all that stuff. And then later on, like what we settled on and what came out of our process was like nah, we just want to like let's just create joy. Like let's just make people happy. Like there's enough of that going on.
Yeah.
Like I don't know where that changed. But remember we tried to be all political with stuff? Like
Wait, with our graffiti?
yeah, with like the murals, like with our murals, and we like, oh man, we gotta say something like controversial and stuff.
Well, I mean, it's I feel like even as a artist and then going public and then after you start doing like 1 or 2 or 3 pieces, it's like, what is your voice? What are you saying?
Right.
And at that moment, and I usually ask a lot of the artists, do you feel like your art has to speak to, your community or empowering something or someone? And I feel like at some point doing public art, like that light bulb goes off to where like, who am I speaking to? Who am I trying to inspire? So, whether it's political, whether it's like cartoon shit, because my favorite shit is like, animated cartoon, borderline photorealistic, but like got some like flair to it. So it's like, who is the audience?
Yeah, and not to I think that every artist has their place, and you got to be true to your voice.
Yeah.
And I think that idea, not to say that controversial art is not, it's just that it was something we were trying to be that wasn't really us. Like, I thought that that's what art should be. It should be activist art, but that wasn't. Everyone has their lane, and like how you got to come from your authentic self of what you're gonna say.
Yeah.
And so eventually, like what came out of us was just like. Illuminaries is like, let's be positive, and there's a lot of negative stuff out there. Like, let's just like, how can we brighten up this corner right here? Yeah. And also simplifying the goal. Like, we don't need to make it so complicated. Yeah.
Overthinking it and trying to figure out whose side.
Coming from like the Banksy era, it's like, oh man, our stuff has to be super thought-provoking.
Yeah, no, you have those moments as an artist as well too. It's like, like you want it to have layers. You don't want it to just like look like some cool artwork. Like, you want to evoke some type of emotion.
Right.
Where is the farthest mural? I looked on, there was a little map, I think, on your website. You guys have some like little pinpoints all over the globe and the world. Where's the farthest mural that you guys worked on from the Bay?
He painted in Bulgaria.
Albania.
Albania.
Yeah, I did Albania. That was
What did you paint over there?
So I have another business with my cousin, and we had a team out there, and so we had the opportunity to go to Tirana, Albania, and I was just floating the idea to the people out there. I was like, oh, I do art, like you got a wall, blah blah blah, and they're like, all right, send me my stuff, and they forwarded it to some people, and it got to the mayor. And they were like, you could do whatever wall you want. And they're driving me around the city, and they're like showing me like huge buildings. And I'm like,
who's funding this?
Like, I was all out. It was all for the love. Like, there was no.
Well, I mean, when it comes to big buildings and the mayor, exactly. I'm just kind of like, I'll do the biggest wall you got, but I need somebody to pay for the lift.
But I only had like 2 days, so I wanted to, and it was being by myself. And so I packed all my spray paint in my luggage, and somehow it made it through TSA. And it goes,
what? Yeah, right.
And,
this is pre 9/11. Wait, what year is this?
This is this is post 9/11.
Post 9/11.
Like 3-4 years ago.
Oh shit.
You checked it in.
I checked to check in.
Okay.
So it got there, and I've done that. Buku one, shout out. He's the one that told me he could do that. I've done it a dozen times now.
You just put a magnet on the bottom of the can so it doesn't shake.
Nope. Dude, I had like 35 cans in there. You move the can like, and like, I just like. They don't even care.
I guess you could check it in. That's good.
Yeah.
Check it in. They're only looking for bombs. They're not looking for anything else.
And if the bomb goes off next to it, it might throw a little extra fuel in the fire, but the shit's already gonna blow. Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was a fun one. It was challenging because.
Is there a picture of it online? What was it?
I'll send you a picture. It's actually it was my Instagram. It was my anniversary at that time. So it's a mural of my wife. It's about 3 stories, and I did it in
He checked off all the boxes on that one, didn't he? God, my guy is good. He's like anniversary check, community project check, business check. Okay, all right. Travel check. All,
Ultimate write-offs.
yes.
But it was a fun one, man. They assigned me a guy to do the lift because it was super sketchy, and it was like I couldn't even figure out the lift. Like I'd move a button this way and he went, and so I lied. The guy he didn't speak English. I was just like giving him hand signals. He was on the ground, just like.
Oh, he was working it. Dope.
That was a fun one.
Nice.
Yeah, that's far. The farthest I painted was Vietnam, back in my mom's hometown. Like my first international mural, I guess.
Yeah.
So it was dope. Just to, she passed away like 5 years ago.
Right.
But then I just went there last year, and it was just, damn, man. I was talking to somebody, and they're like, "Yeah, I have this bar. It's right on this street right here. You can come paint whatever you want." I was like, "I'm gonna paint a tiger for my mom," and it just happened all organically. And then the crazy thing was just trying to find the spray paint. The spray paint they sell at these random Cuddy stores. I'm like, who, like, show me your spray paint. They only have like 6 cans. They're like, go to the other one. This one has 6 cans.
Yeah.
So I'm like trying to pile it all together. Just made it work.
That's how it is painting East Africa.
Oh, word?
Yeah, spray paint. They only come in like automotive colors, like the red, black, gray, white. Because most people use spray it's just to like fix little dents and shit like that.
Right. Did you have to bring your own cap? Did you bring your own caps and all that? Or did that
No, we decided on this last trip, we just were going to use all brush. But then we did run into, shout out to Bank Slave. He does use cans, so we did get a couple of cans while we were in Kenya. But they were just kind of like, so we didn't even think to bring any caps, but the cans, they serve their purpose.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
And what was the furthest project you worked on?
I mean, it wasn't really like a project. It was definitely like we were just bombing shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were like Vietnam, and we found this abandoned what was it, like a castle?
Castle is so sick.
Yeah.
Right on the beach. So we snuck in. And I was with my family and him and the homie.
Yeah.
It was tight. It was super like just.
Yeah, it was just organic, and we just found it. It was like, oh shit, look at that abandoned house, and we just went in there and just hit it up real quick.
So what is the graffiti or even the public art scene like in Vietnam? Is it
I mean,
thriving? Is it
I think it's
under the radar?
it's thriving. I mean, it's like I feel like it's a little bit like back in the days, like it's like real hip hop, like real graffiti style. Like and they're going back to like New York, like 1980s, like straight up, like even like the b-boy and all that stuff.
Dope.
So it's really dope.
I seen like a lot of not newer cats, but I know a lot of cats from here bomb over there.
Yeah.
I know Optimus crush shit over there.
Who was that dude from Texas? Sloke.
Sloke. Yeah, Sloke was out there. It's tight, man. I feel it's not really free for all. You can't just paint wherever, but there are certain
certain areas. I mean, with every city, there's certain rules you got to know how to abide and play by. Dope.
Are you still into bombing? At like
Depends on who you ask. Depends on who you ask. But I did.
I was just out last night.
I did hit my first freight train in a while. Yeah, went out. Shout out to Pascadori and Hildy. Yeah, we went out bombing. What was that? It was like maybe like 3 months ago. So got to do my first train in a while.
Dope.
Yeah. But now it's, I'm getting too old to run.
Yeah.
Like all the shits. I'm just kind of like, yeah. But the thrill is still there. The rush is still there.
Nah, I hear that. Me and this fool just went to Toronto, Montreal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Crushing a little bit.
It was good.
It was dope.
It was fun.
So do you, on the map on your website, are those pinpoints, are those like just bomb spots, or are those like commission pieces?
Mural.
Okay, I saw one, I think in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Tampa last year.
Yeah?
Well, no, Tampa was this past.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah.
The Villages did a couple of years.
What'd you guys do in Tampa?
That was there's like this, it was like called Flavor Fest. It was like a Christian hip hop. We got invited to with shout out to Camera One.
Dope.
He puts together a dope little group. He did like a little mural festival there.
Okay, sweet.
So
Did you touch the mic? Did you guys get on the mic too?
It's not my head.
Yeah. It's always, man, once you've done it, like every time you just kind of like, man, yeah.
there was a lot of dope freestyling going on though. They had all these like ciphers going on in front of our murals though.
Dope.
It was dope.
Yeah, they were turning it up out there.
Cool. So what can we look for next with the Illuminaries? What, you guys got any projects coming up? Anything we want to get ready to tailgate and form a little party underneath?
I don't want to speak on it too early.
Uh-oh.
There's some stuff coming
Yeah.
up, I believe. Nothing.
We're still trying to figure out like what's next as far as like the grand vision.
Yeah.
We're having fun doing it. We have a couple. We'd love to paint with you. We got one
Man.
coming. We might be able to collaborate on down here in downtown Oakland.
Oh man, that would be an awesome dream come
That would be
true.
dope.
Yeah, I was telling Rachel, I was like, you know, with the commission projects, and we try not to turn down too many projects. We also want to make sure that, you know, it's like on brand and it's not going too. But if it's community, you know, it's such a broad, you know, type of like whether it's technology, whether it's, you know, environmental justice, you know, like we're like, all right, we'll cover, you know, any of those things, you know, as long as it's not crazy. I think that, you know, we try not to put ourselves in a box. We don't, you know, turn down projects, but we really want to like hone in on projects that we love. Right. And now we're at that place to where it's like, okay, we don't have to do every project. Right. We can spend a little bit of time like focusing more on, you know, just the impact, right? So we, you know, photorealism is what gets, you know, hired by clients most of the time. So we've been in this photo. But I was telling Rachel, I was like, man, I really just love my cartoon animation.
Get back to that.
You know, I really just love doing, like, I got canvases behind this wall here, just like characters that I've kind of like, you know what, throw those. But then like shout out to like cats like Math One who just like stayed in their bag. They were like, you know what, this is my character. When you see it, you know what it is.
Yeah.
You know who it is. No question about it. I don't even have to sign my name. Like, I love that shit. Ross Terms pieces, the pieces where you just look at it one time, the gats where you're like,
Yeah.
I know who did that, you know, like instantly. But then also I love the wrestle of painting new subject matter, you know, things that I haven't drawn before, that, you know. So I'm looking forward to, you know, painting with you guys. Keep me posted. I got, you know, projects on the works to where I'm like, all right, let me see how we can. The funny thing is, like, a lot of times I'm like, all right, is this shit too cheesy or corny to reach out? So now that the green light and the you know, the airwaves have been open, I will definitely be reaching out to you guys.
Well, you know, like Tion Buku, he puts together a lot of cool walls that, I mean, we've learned a lot from him, and one of them is like the art community of like, we just did one. It's like, hey, there's a big wall. Let's invite as many folks as we can out here. I mean, and a lot of it is like, you're not getting paid, but like what I realized doing that, we just did one with him, is like, we need that. I need
that outlet.
Because I'm not doing that enough. I'm doing too much commission work, too much client where you get under your own head.
Yeah.
And you don't get to explore what you want to do.
Yeah. And it's returning back to the essence. It's like, you know, you want to stay in the art bag, but it's like, okay, let me take on these commission projects. But yeah, returning back to, you know, just, we need it for our souls.
Yeah.
You know, like just not to get so, you know, it's like we didn't want to not, or at least speaking for myself, I didn't want to do a 9 to 5, but then I found myself now working like a 7 to 7.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
exactly. 12 hours.
God, like proposals, grand prize, showing up and putting on my, you know, professional voice. I'm like, saw the shit I told myself in my young. I was like, nah, fuck that. But now it's like, no, you want to eat, you got to do that.
Yeah.
But being able to just like paint for paint's sake, I'm there.
Yeah.
Give me a shout. Yeah. Tone, do you have any questions, anything that we didn't touch upon from the fourth wall?
No, there were a couple of things that caught my mind during it, but I kind of lost them in the moment, so I can't say right now. Oh yeah, I wanted to ask, why'd you think about?
Oh, you know what? I loved it. Like, it covers like really well, especially like on the white, because you know, like white like,
Takes a couple layers.
Yeah. So like covered it pretty well. So I'm like, I'll use it.
Yeah.
I'll be down to do it. So shout out to Mural Paint.
Chroma
Mural. Yeah.
Mural paint.
Because it was chroma paint, but you never see their name.
Yeah, I was like,
And I gotta, so, you know, and if you guys beat me to the punch, I'm not even mad. But I've also talked to them about working on their logo. It's just like this little cursive C inside of these 3 dots. And I'm like, your logo just needs to be a little bit louder than that. Just a little bit, like,
So you can't see again.
candy. It's this little cursive. It's a C right here. It's, I'm not even great. As graphic designers, you're just kind of, man, how many, man, I feel like Andy Warhol sometimes. I'll be looking at like some packaging or some random shit, and I'm just like, who designed this?
Always.
Who gave them the right to, and then other times I'm like, oh, nice. This is well laid out. So, if we have nothing else, man, this was absolutely amazing.
Yes.
I feel like a little kid when I get to talk about art,
Hell yeah,
especially with people
always.
that like have inspired my work, inspired just, you know, my journey here painting in Oakland. So,
Absolutely, brother. Thank you, man.
man, the
I know we talked
Illuminaries.
for hours.
Yeah, man, we really could. I was only when you looked at your phone, I was like, oh shit, we did it again. I'm like, David Burks, we were here for like 2.5 hours with David, and I was just like, oh shit, we gotta. No, like I gotta pick up children. I got like I gotta get back to it. So not even to cut it short. Oh my, you guys said you had a book for me though.
Yes, sir.
Oh
Shout
man.
out to the book.
Yeah, let me get that on camera. Let's make sure people know
Yeah, thank you
exactly
for the book. This is dope.
what the book is looking like. I saw it on the website. I'm still gonna go and order another one. I gotta get this one signed.
I got to get this sign.
You see it right here. Yeah. Hold it up. Is that good? What's the name of the book?
Spray and paint where it ain't.
Spray and paint where it ain't. Oh, I love it. Come on. And the Rise and Grind we were talking about, if you haven't seen it, that's it right there in black and white. The color is so much raw. But yes, man.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you guys.
Love, man.
Appreciate you. Oh.
Give me the paint, give me the chalk, give me the urban artist talk. Give me the paint, give me the chalk, give me the urban artist talk.